Hi everyone, this is Erin from Sandpaper Road, and this is the video tutorial for craft outfitting pattern 4. So you'll see me referencing the PDF cutting guide all throughout the video. This is not required for you to participate in the tutorial. We're going to be making 4 scrapbook layouts and 12 cards using all our own supplies. If you do prefer the cutting guide, I will link right here where you can pick that up over at sandpaperroad.com, and it might just make your life a little bit easier, but certainly you don't need it to participate. We're going to start by choosing our papers and labeling them and trimming them. And what I've decided to do is use a discontinued paper line so that we can focus just on the pattern itself. What you're going to need are 2 papers that are exactly the same. We're going to call them same 1 and same 2. It really doesn't matter that much about the pattern. Of course, you can consult the cutting guide for that cheat sheet there in the back and see where your papers are going to end up in the finished products, and that might make your life a little bit easier. But if you don't have that, you could just choose any two papers that you already have that are exactly the same. So 2 of the same. Then we're going to choose 2 that are different from each other, and the pattern would be relatively plain, just a relatively plain pattern. We're going to call it different plain 1 and different plain 2. Then you're going to choose 2 of them that are a really busy pattern, a pattern that's all over the page that you wouldn't really know what to do with necessarily, unless you were doing just like maybe you have one idea and that's it, but just a really busy, crazy pattern. And we're going to call that off the chain. The pattern's just off the chain, crazy busy. So it's off the chain 1 and off the chain 2. These are different from each other as well. It doesn't matter what they look like, but all the papers should coordinate together, whatever ones you choose. To that, we're actually going to add a third. We're going to add a third off the chain pattern, or off the chain paper today. All right. So, and I know I'm moving quickly, but this is on video, so you can back it up and replay as you need. To that, we're going to add 2 lights. Now, these lights should be the same, but they don't have to be, but they should be just to match what it is we're trying to do, but they don't have to be. I'm using a solid cardstock sheet, and these are all 12 by 12 sheets, by the way. You're also going to add 2 darks. These would be the same darks as each other. You can see that I don't have these as being a cardstock sheet. This is actually a pattern paper sheet, but it's really sturdy and thick, 250 GSM, the one I'm using. And the pattern is really subtle, and I'm just going to use it as a base, as one of the darks, okay? And today, for this pattern, we're going to add a third dark. So dark 3 is going to be different than dark 1 and 2, but still dark compared to the rest of the papers that you chose, all right? So those are our paper choices. Again, if you need to see that again, just back the video up and watch it as many times as you want. That's the beauty of having this on video. We're going to label all the papers, and then we're going to trim all of the papers to exactly 12 by 12. And I'm being really specific about that because if you notice, a lot of pattern papers have like a little strip right here. Well, just because you trim that strip off does not mean that you're trimming it to 12 by 12. So take the time on each one of these papers, whatever paper trimmer you have, and physically trim it to 12 by 12, measuring and cutting and then turning it to, you're trimming just 2 sides, 2 adjacent sides to 12 by 12, and that's how you do it. And if you're not sure, just make sure you remeasure and then put your little label piece back on and set it to the side. If this is your first craft outfitting pattern, you'll notice that I have these bright yellow tags, and I just found some random cardstock that I had and then made little labels, and then they'll carry through with the papers all the way through the pattern so I don't get confused. All right. The next thing we're going to do is move on and get our card bases ready, because we're going to be making 4 scrapbook layouts, size 12 by 12, and we're going to be making 12 cards. The card bases are going to be A2 size, which I just happen to have a demonstration card right here. Okay, so this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock cut in half and folded in half. And you can use either pre-cut card bases. Maybe you have a bunch in your stash that you completely forgot about. Dig those out and you can use them. For an A2 size card base, we're talking about 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. Okay, so either a pre-cut card base, or you can get a regular size of cardstock and cut it right in half and fold these in half to make your card bases. Actually, I can link right up here to another video to save you some time. If you're brand new to scrapbooking and card making in general, and you're like, I don't even know what you're saying, I'm going to link you to a super basic beginner video so you can sort of catch up about what I'm talking about here when it comes to card bases, okay? We're also going to take a minute and make sure that we have a way to cut out a card panel either from a die or from a jig. And I'm going to show you quickly what I mean here. Maybe you have some dies that just happen to be the perfect size for a card panel for an A2 size card. Okay, this is what I mean by, if this was our card base right here, right? And here would be a card panel. And of course, this isn't exactly perfect, you know, but this would be personally what I would personally use would be this die. And that would mean I would have a die cutting machine, obviously. Maybe you, like you don't have a die cutting machine or something like that, then that's fine. You can still participate along. Just get like cereal box or beverage box or something and cut yourself a card panel jig that is 4½ by 3½. That's at the very least. That means that when you can trace your little jig, just like a template is a jig template, right? You can trace around it and cut out maybe with a craft knife or something like that, or your scissors. Then you'll have the same card panel to go on the cards. Okay, so everybody can participate. Like I said, you don't need anything special, but if you have it, because craft outfitting is sort of designed for the person who has mountains and mountains of supplies, and so if you have it, just gather that and be ready to use it. Now, real quick, before we get started on the actual tutorial part of it, you want to also take a last look before you get all solid with the papers, okay? You can look back at your cutting guide, your PDF cutting guide. This is the cheat sheet part of it, right? And I'm not going to show you all the pages, but on camera, what this is for is so that you can look at this picture here at the end and see how the numbers add up. And there's a little cheat sheet down here. So you can see where your off the chain is going to go and where your different plane is going to go. So you can look back and see where your papers are going to end up on your finished layouts. You can go through each one of your papers and make sure that that's exactly where you want it to end up and make any changes before we start cutting and gluing. This is designed, this cutting guide is designed a little bit different. It's not just a list of measurements. You've got the visual cutting guide, and then you've got a corresponding explanation cutting guide for each piece, and then where to put each piece. And you'll end up with the projects. So I chose all of my card bases, and today for this video I'm choosing some pre-cut card bases that I've had in my stash for a really long time. And I've also trimmed all of the papers to exactly 12 by 12. So now I feel like I'm ready to get started. Now this is kind of a unique process. This is why this is different from a regular sketch, so to speak, okay? Because we're not just, there's sort of a way we're going to do this. We're going to put these aside the card bases. We'll get to them soon enough, all right? And we're gonna actually start with light number 2. We're gonna do like a paper saver, okay? Out of the right side of our light. This is gonna be the right side base of a double page layout. And you can certainly use you can't really use a die unless you can slide this whole thing in your die cutting machine. So I'm just gonna get kind of close to the right hand side, trace. Again, this is not necessarily a card panel. I just need a little paper saver out of it, okay, to get a couple more shapes. All right, and once I do that, I'm actually just going to use my scissors for this one. Now I won't do this like this later. Where's my, let me get it started. Oh, maybe I will just cut it with the X-Acto knife here, because this doesn't have to be exact. We're just doing a paper saver, okay? You can see I'm not really being that. We're going to cover this up, and like I said, it's just a paper saver. So let me put these back in. Now, let's see. Let's just pop this out. Okay. Good. That was fairly easy. You saw that I didn't have any measurements, and that is intentional. I mean, I traced around my card panel, but it doesn't have to be. For my other cards, in when I was doing like the walkthrough, these are the ones that I showed. Now this is the basic how our cards are going to end up looking. You can see I've got 1, 2, 3 little shapes, and then 1, 2, 3 shapes. These are, I did the pattern twice, 2 different times with 2 different sets of paper, just to give you an idea of a little bit of variety. You can see that essentially we're doing the same exact thing. Card panel on top of a card, 3 shapes, and a sentiment. The sentiment here, though, I die cut the sentiment out, and this one I just stamped and used just like extra paper, just scrap paper, you know, that I had around, or good stamping paper, whatever. Okay, and then a ribbon. This is where the shape part comes in. Now you can use squares if you have squares. If you have, you know, they don't have to be punches, they can be dies. I'm going to go ahead and use these because I have them just sitting right here, and I'm going to get it. Let's try to get at least 2 out of each one. I'm getting 4 out of each one. Okay. And there we go. Now we can save these in something, let's see, like a little yogurt container. How about that? Let me show you a little trick before we get too far, okay? Now, if you can position this in such a way where you can get a square, if I would have been smart, I would have done it just a little bit less haphazardly, but if you can get a square and then cut the square right down the center, then you've got 2 nice little triangles that we can use later for like photo corners or just little page accents. I am forever using little corners in things. So let's just try to, if you're a scrapbooker, you know that this is pretty common. What we do here is if you can get a punch out of it, then it's not a scrap yet. So let's see, we might have exhausted this little piece. There we go. One more. So I'll get 3 little squares, throw these scraps out, and then we'll do this to the other side, and then we can move on. Okay. Good. So we've got the start of some actual shapes that we'll use on our cards, this hexagon, and then we've got some bonus shapes that we can use as photo corners, okay, and they're just in our collection yogurt container. And this is still light number 2. Let's go back to our paper selections and find dark number 1. Dark number 1 has 2 purposes. We're going to cover up this side here, and then this is going to be the right hand side of our double page layout. The other half of dark number 1 is going to be for die cutting the sentiments, as I did in this card. Okay, you're going to have a whole half to do that with. So dark number 1, we're going to cut in half. I want you to notice that in this one that I chose, you do have choice. You don't have to just randomly start cutting it, okay? Take a look at your paper. You're making a nice layout and some cards. So take a look at the layout. You can cut it in half, whichever way you want your half to go. I can see there's just some subtle like French text going across horizontally. So I'm going to keep that going, and we'll just cut this right in half. Alrighty. Now, since I'm using this for sentiments, I don't have to do this right this second if I don't want to. It's going to make my life easier if I do. But again, not necessarily. I don't know my schedule, right? So as long as I keep dark number 1 with this half and know that it's for cutting sentiments, then I'm good. And I can take this over here, put this right here, and cover up the holes. Now, here's the cool thing. I can choose if I want the front or the back. Okay? I can choose, do I want the front or the back? I know I want the dark side, only because I have my cheat sheet, and so I know how this is going to look at the end. And but just to let you know that you do have that choice, always, always your choice. I'm using score tape. You can use whatever adhesive you have. Again, if you're not a scrapbooker, don't fret. Don't fret. Coming along pretty quick. Is everybody comfortable? Okay. Make sure this looks the way I want. Line this up. Line this up. Once I get it lined up, then we can go ahead and push. Very nice. Now we've got, this is our, we're already done with 2 sheets. I'm going to keep this, just, maybe I'll put a piece of washi tape on it, but I'm going to know that this is the right hand side of my double layout. Okay. Now my cheat sheet, my cutting guide tells me that, but in case you don't have this washi tape, but just in case you don't have the cutting guide, you know, you should keep it straight what you're looking at, okay? We're moving on, so we're going to get out light number 1 from our pile. Now let's do a similar thing that we did before. This is going to be the base of a single layout. Let's turn it this way this time. So let's do a card panel out of here. Let's see. Let's do one more out of here. But let's see. Oops. All right, now I have a T ruler, and because I'm not just cutting scraps, I'm cutting actual card panels, so I'd like this to be a little bit more exact than it was in my other one. There we go. Now, here's one of my card bases, remember, that I chose. And look, I don't have to erase my pencil lines, I just turn it over. Look how nice that is. Isn't that great? What a perfect fit. Here's the measurements for your card panel jig again, 4.5 by 3.5. Again, you can use cereal box, beverage box, whatever. All right. Super fancy. Also, you can use embossing folders on this before you put it down. You can ink it, you can mix media it, whatever. You're just creating basically a paper saver out of this. However, out of this one, let's see, let's choose, since we have some, we did some good cuts on our last one. So maybe on this one, you can choose card panel, or if you want to cut shapes, we'll just see as we go. We've got a bonus here, okay? There we go. All right, super. 2 card panels, very nice to go with our cards. And we'll put this, I'm sure we're going to need this again. This is just a Creative Memories mat, a regular craft mat, and just a T ruler. I mean, you can literally get it anywhere. They're not expensive at all. A regular ruler would be just fine. Just use whatever you have on hand, okay? This is still our light number 1. All right. This is going to be the base of our single layout. Let's go back to our beginning paper and find dark number 2. Dark number 2. There you are. This is going to be the base of our single layout. We're going to call it the single layout with the dark base. All right, we're going to cut a card panel out of the dark number 2 down here toward this bottom corner. I was looking everywhere for my white pen and I cannot find it anywhere. Now, all of you know that as soon as I get off camera, I'm going to find it, right? I did find this silver pen, and that's just going to have to do for right now. It's probably right here in front of me. Okay. I know that's hard for you to see. All right. Dark number 2. And since this is a card panel, I am going to use my T ruler to cut okay. Wonderful. Good. And we have a bonus side. So we'll put that with the other card panels. Now look what's happening. Look what's happening here. All these little card panels, and I've got this. And look, I can choose the B side for right on here. Isn't that great? Looks like I did a bunch of stuff and I didn't. I sure like it. I like it a lot. Let's keep this way. This is dark number 2. This is going to be our single layout dark base. All right. Let's go back to our paper. We're going to need dark number 3. Dark number 3. Dark number 3 is going to become the left side of the double layout. This is actually the base of the double layout, but on the left side. This, you have some choice. You can do what we've done already with cutting out a little paper saver, but it's optional because you've already done that on some other ones. So take a look at both sides of your paper. If it's solid cardstock, obviously there's no, they're both the same. But in my case, I chose a double-sided piece of heavyweight pattern paper, and I'm going to go ahead and take the optional option and cut myself a paper saver. I really am. So where is my jig? And some of you who, if you are the type to use every single scrap, then maybe you'll be the type to go ahead and do the paper saver as well. I'm using this, my card panel jig to trace, because then as a paper saver, what I've done is chosen the size, given myself, like saved myself a step. So if I want to use it as a card base at some point, it's already cut to size. And if I don't, then I've got just a nice paper saver and, you know, no harm done. Okay. I believe this, I think I said this last time, but I'm pretty sure that this is the last time that we're doing this. Boy, is that crooked. That's okay, because we can trim this up on our paper trimmer once we get it cut out. Oh my gosh. Oh man. I wasn't pushing up against the ruler. I got a really crooked cut. That's okay, because I can, like I said, look at that. That looks ridiculous. But what I'm going to do is clean that up on a paper trimmer, and I will show you when I finish here. Look at how I keep cutting crooked. Every single one of them I cut crooked, even though I'm holding a straight edge. First of all, I'm not taking my time. Second of all, I'm on camera. And third, I'm cutting crooked, just plain old cutting crooked. Well, these will be our paper savers then, not necessarily a card panel. That's fine. So we've got a little paper saver, and we've got our double layout, our left side base. All right, back to our papers, and we're going to get the page that is off the chain 3. Let's get off the chain 3. Cool. Here we go. This is where it starts to get really exciting. This, my friends, is where it starts to get very, very, very exciting. Okay? Now, we have some choice here. We have some choice. We are going to, on your paper, you're going to cut a 5x12 side of the paper. It really doesn't matter which side of the paper you cut, okay? So I happen to know this not just because I made the pattern, but because I looked at the little cheat sheet in the cutting guide, and I specifically chose a piece that had a one side cut. And so what I'm going to do is make this right here my 5x12 cut, all right? It doesn't matter how I turn the paper or whatever. I just need one side of it to be a 5x12. So where is 5? Okay, I see it. 5. Try not to get my head in the shot. 5x12. Now, here's the rest of off the chain 3. We need that. This is our 5x12 piece. Watch this. We are going to get the double layout left side, and we're going to cover up the holes like that. All right. Let's put this over here for a second. Look at that. Look at that. Yep. Make sure we're right side up. Line this up and cover the holes. I now know that I can actually take these tags off. Uh-oh. Right here. because I am well aware at this point they've come together enough that this is my double layout right side, my double layout left side. Okay, and it's coming together absolutely beautifully. Absolutely beautifully. We're still working with this piece. Now, let's cut ourselves a 1 by 12 inch strip off of one side. I'm going to cut it off of this side. Oops, I have to turn my paper this way because of my trimmer. All right, a 1 inch strip off of whatever side you choose. This 1 inch strip goes on your double layout. Can you see this? It's going to cover up this seam right here. Right like so. This is our double layout. Isn't it beautiful? It's great. We're still working with off the chain 3. It should be, if we've cut right, 6, yep, by 12, which we already know. Good. Now, let's cut it in half. One of these is going to go on the dark base in the upper left corner. And we can choose however we want it to look. How do we want it to look? I think I want that partial leaf right like that. Okay. And the other is going to go on the light base in the upper left corner. All right. At this point, we're done with this tag, and I think we're done enough with these. We know we're talking about a light base and a dark base at this point. This is not a double page layout. Look, I have the bird right there. You can choose also, as I'm taping this up, I'm seeing that the back of this paper is sort of like it just happens to be kind of like a quilt pattern. And so certainly I could go like this. Do you see? Which is sort of what I intended this paper for. I'm not going to do it over here, I don't think. I think I'm going to keep it like this. But this one I'm going to do like that. Cool, huh? And that's what I like about having the cutting guide, that little cheat sheet in the back that shows you like whatever papers you choose, like where they're going to end up in the pattern. So you can make choices like this, and it just so happens that you could choose like your A side or your B side of your paper, and you actually do have 2 viable options. Okay. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, I like that a lot with that patchwork. Patchwork was the word I was trying to figure out here. What did I say? Quilt pattern? Okay, well, patchwork is sort of more what I meant. All right, hope you're enjoying the pattern so far. It's going well. Of course, you can pause at any time. And this would be a good time, I think, for me to tell you that don't forget to add this video into your watch later videos. Okay? There's, if you look, you have to be signed into YouTube, obviously, but there's a way that you can just add it to your watch later playlist and come back to it. You can always come back to videos you've watched in the past, but if you add it to watch later, it's kind of like a playlist of your own choosing. Next, we're going to go back to our papers. We're going to find off the chain 1. I'm going to cut right down the middle. Let's be smart about it and look at both sides, okay? If I cut right down the middle, down any way I want, then when I go to use the B side, I don't want to, I want to use this as something even though that's not my side, okay? So let me go right to 6 and cut this right down the middle, being mindful of my other side. Wonderful. Okay, now one of the sides we're going to cut at least 30 shapes, okay? And you can use, this is where you can get out your die cutting machine and your dies and all that. So one side we're going to cut 30 shapes. You can use punches, you can make them all the same, you can make them all different. And the other side we're going to cut right in half and go right at 6. So let me put this right here to remind me that this is for shapes. This side is for shapes, and this side we're going to continue building. Okay. One of them is going to go on the lower right corner, and it's going to cover up this hole. So we can decide. I can put it like this, which I think looks great. All right. Actually, I think that looks great because look, I've got the bird and I've got the little piece right there. And it looks fantastic. And these little things line up and I wasn't even trying. Okay, now that I've got these two squares on here, we're going to hold on to that one for just a second and wait. And we're going to just put this literally over to the side for just a second. And we're going to get different plane 1. We need different plane 1. Okay, different plane 1. There you are. This is going to be an easy cut. Let's put this off to the side, but not too far away, okay? So now we're working with different plane 1. Let's make some 6x6 squares, okay? Cool. Okay. Now, different plane 1. Now we have that. Oh, wait, we're not done with this here. Actually, you know what? Let me get this other trimmer. On one of the squares, we're going to need a 1x6 piece and a 5x1 piece. So let's look at the back here and see what we can cut into. All right, cool. Cool. On top That's cool how that worked out. All right, good. Let's use, oh, I like that a lot. Oh, boy, I like that a lot. All right, let's use this one. And we'll cut a 1x6 off of one edge here. 1 inch by 6. And now we can turn it and cut a 1 inch, and we'll have 1x5, okay? We're gonna use these almost as, I'm gonna say paper savers, but they're really just for bonus pieces, for final touch-ups, accents, that kind of thing, okay? I would never call these scraps because we could use them, but we're gonna put them with our paper savers at this point. All right, now, back to this as we were. We have one of these is going to go down here on our lower corner. We could do it like this. Look, we've got journaling blocks now. That's cool. I didn't do this. I did this crooked, it looks like. You can tell. I'll have to straighten that up. This one then is going to go like this. And then like this. I bet I have some sticky on here somewhere. Yep. That's fantastic. Now again, you can choose. Look at that. That looks really good. Okay, we are building up this page. No way is this going to go right like this. We actually are missing a big piece right here. So we're just building on this right now, okay? This goes right here, and then we have our little tower that looks like this. You can ink the edges, okay? And then this will go on this page, but that's how it's going to look. We're just going to lay it there like that. This different plane right here, this one goes on the light base in the lower left corner, like this. That looks great. Or you can choose, if you have a B side and you want to go like this, you could choose that. That looks good too. Okay, so I'm going to lay it as such. And I think we're done with different plane 1. I'm not going to adhere this down yet because I want to make some choices based on my next cuts. Okay? Okay, we're going to continue on here. We're going to go back to our papers and we're going to find same 2. At this point, I do want to mention that you can do this in any order that you want. Especially when you have the cutting guide. Each page is its own little cutting. Like here, let me show you here from the cutting guide itself what it is we're doing. So same 2, it's its own page. It prints out as its own page. These are to scale, and you can very clearly see where we're going to cut. So just because I'm doing the tutorial in a certain order, starting with a certain page and starting and then moving on in such an order, there's really no page numbers on the cutting guide because you can do that in whatever order that you want. So we're going to continue on here, and this is where we left off, leaving these pieces not adhered down. The only thing that we have adhered down are is these diamond pieces here that we know are going to be intact here. So let's gently move this out of the way and give us a little bit of space. So what's on the back? Ooh, nice, nice, nice. Yeah, real nice. I know we're going to use this side, but we'll keep it here. So we're going to do, let's do a 10 by 10 square. We're going to do a 2 by 12 piece on one side. Which is a good side? I think this side, a 2-inch piece right here. All right, down the side. This is going to be absolutely beautiful. 2-inch all the way down. This is going to be bonus for final touch-ups and accents and things like that. And then we're going to turn it here, and I need to see my piece, and we're going to do another 2 inches down here. We'll save this. Okay. Now this piece, which really you could use them both because they're both 2 inches. This piece is going to be used to die cut a title for our double layout. Of course, if you don't have die cut letters, you could use letter stickers or something and put them right on top. And I'll show you that a little bit later on in the video. But right now we've got this 10 by 10 square. All right, let's pull back this single layout with the dark base. Now here we have like this, right? Now, this right here is meant to go here. Now we can do it like this, right on top, and then like this, or because we have double-sided paper. Wow. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Look how good it looks. Yep. And we can put this in the upper corner if we want, like this. Wonderful. That looks amazing. That looks amazing. And you might be thinking, I know what you're thinking. You might be thinking, oh, don't cover up that bird. Well, we'll just do we'll just cut around that. As a matter of fact, let's do that. This is only because I have this paper. You obviously don't have to do this, but let me show you a little trick, okay? I'm actually glad I chose this paper just for this purpose. If that happens to you, okay, watch. Can you guys see that? Watch. I'm going to take an X-Acto knife, and I'm going to very carefully go like this. All right, and then on the other side. Like that. Now watch this. You saw how long that took me. Now watch. This will be like this. I'm only taking the time to show you because this is a real world problem that you may have. You're trying to use what you have, right? You can't necessarily control. You can, but you know, you're like, oh, I'm just trying to follow the pattern. I don't like that it ends up funny. Okay, let's pretend that this is all adhered down. And look what you can do. You can pop this guy out and put him on top. Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha. See that? Now he's on top. No harm done. Cool, huh? Is that not the coolest thing? All right. Now, I personally like the way this looks in the middle. And I am going to make it so I'm going to have to put this down here like this. All right. Going very well. Okay, we could ink the edges. I'm going to do that up on this upper thing, I think, is ink these edges. All right, now here is where I want to try to make sure that I've got the correct overlap. Here, like this. Yeah, That's good. So I can always trim down this edge right here like that. Okay. And now here, I'm gonna do something here. This is my layout, and so I feel like sort of roughing up this edge, because look how that looks now when I lay it down. Doesn't that look good? You know what I used to do? I went through this phase, and I still do it sometimes, but I went through this phase where every single thing I did, like I used white matte acrylic paint and sort of did this look on the edges. And I still really like that look, but I just don't do it like all the time. And I don't always bust out the paint to do it. Sometimes I just scrape the edges a little bit. This doesn't quite work very well when you're using like a thin paper. But good on like a nice heavy pattern paper where you can really like open up the edges of that paper. There we go. And I'm going to turn it so the design is how I want it, which looks like this is how I want it. And we'll put him like in there. Good. Yeah, that looks nice. Really, really, really good. That's wonderful. Okay. We'll glue this down. I'm going to use a thicker tape, I think, for this. I have score tape that I use, and I like because you can tear it with your fingers. It's double-sided and it holds well over time. I also like it when you're using undo adhesive remover, that it comes up nice and easily, which undo is a must-have if you're an avid scrapbooker, or card maker. Okay. All right. Uh-oh. Ah, my bird. We're going to have to glue him down because I just nicked him with my finger here. So we'll glue him down. I'm just eyeballing this. Okay. And now let me get a, I think I need some liquid glue for this. Sorry about my head in the shot. I'm only lifting this up because, oh man. There we go. Okay, we'll glue him down. Okay. This goes like this. I do want it in the corner. I think that looks good. Now at this point too, you know, before you glue down your final squares here, take a look. Do you want some ribbon around some pieces? Do you have some washi tape? Do you want anything down right there? You know, it just depends what you have. We also, we have this piece here, this longer piece for accents at the end. So, you know, I could cut maybe something out of here if I wanted. I don't know. I'm just going to leave it for now, but I do want some brown ink, and I want to trim this side just a bit. And just even out this side here. Just a hair. Now that all my pieces are put together there. See that? Yeah. And then I have a sanding block here. This was in our garage. My husband says, "Where's my sanding block?" I say, "I don't know." I'm just kidding. I tell him I have it. All right, that's much better. That's much better. And as a matter of fact, I'll ink around the outside edges as well. Okay. Let me get my craft sheet here. What do I want? Some walnut stain for sure. Okay. Uh-oh. I would like a little bit more ink than that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that looks much better. It's just a little, it's just that little edge. It just defines that little edge, doesn't it? Makes it look like it's supposed to be there. Good. Looks real good. And then let's do it over here. Uh-oh. What's on the back? Oh, okay, good. All right. I feel like I'm going to want this later, but I'll put it away. What a difference. Okay, so let's glue this down here. Uh-oh, let me be mindful of where I'm putting stuff. A 4x4 picture is going to go right here. I wonder if I have a little, I wonder if I have a little 4x4 picture thing. No, I don't have one ready. I thought I did. Oh well. Okay. Yeah, a 4x4 picture will go right there. So let's keep the corners free and just glue this down. That if we do it this way, if we adhere it down this way, then we have more choice later on, like if we want to wrap ribbon or something like that. So let's just give ourselves some choice. All right. Just like so. Good. And now let's get this and same thing. Let's just it's not going to go anywhere, first of all. As a matter of fact, I think that's fine. Remember when we first started scrapbooking, if you've been scrapbooking for a while, remember the tape runners, and you used to use like two little lines of adhesive, and it probably still holds today on those first albums, doesn't it? I'm going to go right there. I think that looks nice. I don't have to line it up all perfect. I'm looking more at these corners. That looks good. All right. Very, very, very nice. Very nice. Now, we can end up, let me show you mine here. Let me show you this. This is how it looked when I did it with different paper. Okay. So you can see that. Yep. Very good. Very, very, very nice. How different they look, but yet still look the same. So you can see you'll have a 4x4 picture there. You can put it like this, right? I just turned mine a little bit different. It looks wonderful. Yeah, it looks great. Here's how I did mine in a different paper and decorated it. And then I put my title here. Okay, as you can see, embellished. And I could still add, you know, I mean, just looking at this, like I could add corners or something. These are just brads. I think I put them all the way through. Yeah, I did. Put them all the way through. See, we had this cutout hole. Remember? We cut out a paper saver, but you don't even see it. And we still saved our paper. That's a beautiful layout. That is beautiful. I can't wait to finish that up. Beautiful. All right, we've got one layout mostly done. We'll go back to our papers and let's pull out same number one. We're going to do same one. Okay? With this, what we're going to do is we're going to cut at 5 by 12 on one side, and the 5 by 12 piece that we cut is we're gonna cut card panels out of it, and that's it. The rest of the scraps we can use as bonus scraps and things like that. So knowing that, let's take a good look at our paper. The other side, the 7 by 12 side, we're going to use as, we're gonna have 2 photo mats and then some bonus pieces for our double layout. So let's get this going with I'm not going to put too much thought into this because I like both sides. We'll just see which side we like better, okay? So we do want to make sure that when we're cutting, though, we don't cut crooked. Some people, I think, have a crooked paper trimmer. I wonder sometimes if mine is just cuts crooked. All right, here's my 5 mark. So 5 by 12 is what we want. Good. This is the 7 by 12 piece. Let's put this, let me just show you. We're going to take, I have a die and I can cut card panels 1, 2, 3 right down the side. If I don't have a die, I can use my jig and cut very easily 1, 2, 3 right here. Okay, that is what this piece is for. Let me put this to the side. That I will do off camera. How about that? Well, maybe I'll do 1 and then we can, you know, do the rest off camera. But for now, let's continue here. So this is 7 inches up here. This is 12. Let's turn it, cut it at 5. On here, make sure we're all straight. Cut it at 5 again. Make sure we're all straight. Okay. Now, hold on a second. See these 2 pieces? These are photo mats. They're 5 by 7. So they're photo mats for this scrapbook layout. This is the one with the light base. Remember, I didn't glue this piece down here yet? Because look what's going to happen here. This covers up this hole, and this covers up this hole, like that. And they're photo mats. Or I can tilt them a little bit if I want. Or I could use the B side, which I plan to do. Look at the beautiness of that. Look, photo mats. 2 photo mats covering up those holes. You will never know that there are holes out of, we could even go like that. You could have them straight. I personally like them straight, but you know, if if you're a photo tilter, feel free, right? That's how that looks right there. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about this. Pretend this is a 4x6 photo. Do I have one that goes like, yeah. All right, this is a 4x6 photo, let's just say. Because a 4x6 photo is going to go right there. Doesn't it look fantastic? Doesn't it look great? All right, because this goes here, there is no reason to have paper here, right? So we're going to cut a card panel out of this and a card panel out of this. Again, if you don't have a die, you can use your card panel jig and cut one out of here and cut one out of here. All right? So we've got these sized correctly. We're just going to put them in the pile of all things card panels. Right there. Let's move this. Actually, before we do that, let's glue this down. Because I feel like this, not this. Let's glue this piece down because I feel like this is going to get lost in the shuffle if I don't glue it down. Okay. Ooh, I didn't see that. Ooh, look. Now I can decide here because look, now I know what's going here. I can make a choice. Ooh, I'm glad I waited to glue that down. That was pretty smart. As a matter of fact, I like that. I like that a lot with these 3 butterflies. Good. Oh, that looks really good. All right. Glad I tried that. Looks much better. Maybe your paper doesn't do that. That is one of the beauties of having the cutting guide. I chose this paper for this project a while back, and you know, as I'm filming, I sort of forgot, like, you know, you forget the process of going through and picking out this individual paper or whatever. I am so glad I took the time to see like what paper is going to end up where, what paper is going to go where, because that's sort of something that then surprises you. Okay. And then people say, oh, how'd you do that? Oh, that's a nice, you know, what is that? And I say, it's just the paper. But if you choose your paper with some thought, then you don't have to work as hard. These are just simple shapes. They're literally, I know you can see it as we go, they're literally just squares. And you turn it this way or you turn it this way or whatnot. So, all right, here. Very, very, very good. Now, if it hangs over the edge, you can always go back and trim that up later. Okay. Look how good that's going to look. Ha 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 ha. Wow, super. And I've got just a little place to write if I want and some neat little accents. And then at the final end, I know I'm going to put like 1 butterfly up here. Won't that look fantastic? Very good. Okay. Looks great. Now this piece, this was what we ended up when we were, this is all the die cut pieces. Okay. This is what we ended up out of same one. Remember, we just cut the 5x12 and then the 7x12 and this was left. So let's go, this should be 2 inches. And just to make sure, let's measure. And it is 2 inches this way. All right, good. So let's do 2.5. As a matter of fact, let me get my smaller trimmer. I'm going to turn it this way. I have the choice. I can do what I want. So I'm going to turn it this way. Just because I'm cutting 2.5 and I think I'd like more of this flower in the 2.5. That's going to look really good. And if I end up using the other side, oh well. But at least I give myself the choice. 2.5. And then let's do another 2.5. Okay. And then this should be a 2x2 square. This is 2 and turn it, and this is 2. Good. Good. It ended up just the way I thought. Okay, the 2x2 square, this is bonus for final touch-ups and accents. So let's put it over there in the bonus pile. And these go on the double layout. Where is the double layout? Over here. Now we don't have enough of the double layout built. Oh, I like using this size, but they'll go like down here. Okay. So maybe you have a removable glue dot or a piece of washi tape. I wrestle with this washi tape nonstop, so we'll see if it cooperates with me. Oh, it did. All right. So I'm just gonna tape these here just for a second. All right, so I don't forget. Okay, super. Now, back to all these. Let's cut out all our card panels out of here. And then I'll just do one so you can see. Look how old my machine is. And it still works just fine. All right, I'm going to cut this out of here. Anything on the back? No. I mean, yeah, but no. You've seen me enough in this video use that cardboard jig. If you have dies, it makes your life much easier. But if you don't, you don't. So there we go. And there is a card panel, and it fits just like on this card we've been using. Okay. Mine has a little stitch around the end, which I really like. So we'll do the rest of them the same way. Nice, nice, nice card panel. Let me show you something. Remember I chose these card panels? Look how, look. Oh, wow. That's beautiful. What's it look like on the other one? Oh, gorgeous. That's gorgeous. It looks like I spent a whole bunch of time on it. It's just 2 squares. All right, so I cut out the card panels and I adhered the pieces right onto the page. Also, I took the time and did a little cut of the bird out like I did on the previous layout, just because of where I wanted the pages. Now this looks like a whole bunch of nothing, doesn't it, with these holes? But you got to remember, the holes are going to get covered up. They're going to get covered up with photos. Imagine this is going this way, right? So you're not going to see those holes. It's going to look like a regular scrapbook layout with your photos. Let's see. I think we're about done. Actually, I'll flip this over this way so it doesn't look weird. Here's how this same layout looked when I did it with different paper. Yeah. It's foolproof. You cannot mess it up. Maybe I'll add some ink around the edges of this scrapbook layout. Look how different the paper is. I wonder if I would have turned this over, you know, how it would have looked different. And then let me show you, let's take a look and see how it looks with like photos and a title and all that. I think this is about 90% of the way done. Yeah, because I have like little corners here. Oh, that's what I wanted to bring back up. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Doesn't this look nice? See, because when you put photos on and I wrote down here, of course I can write here. I can put a title right here. Although this, I've got an embellishment. I can put my title maybe going vertically right here. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to put title letters going this way, reading up and down like this. But let me show you a little something here. Let me see. This was my piece. I want to show you something where I die cut out with those panels, right? So this is my scrap. And what happened with my, here we go, with this. I'm going to go like this. I wish, oh no, I want it to be brown. Don't I have a brown scrap somewhere? So I can choose, I'm going to use this brown paper saver from earlier. And I'm going to go like this and punch 2 squares. Whoops, there goes my tape. Come on. And with my glue, and now I'm going to go like this. That just makes it look, give it a really finished look, doesn't it? Just wonderful. That it's just that finished look of those corners. Doesn't that look great? And now you heard me say before, I'm gonna write my title this way, right here, whatever it's called, and have it go vertically like up the side. Just to go, because see, all these are going this way. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is perfect. 2 birds, 1, 2, 4 corners. Looks great. The layout's almost done for real. Beautiful. Just beautiful. All right. You are doing great. So we are almost at the end. We have 2 sheets left. We have different plain 2, and we have off the chain 2. Now, what's interesting is at this point in the pattern, both of these sheets get cut the same exact way. Just the pieces go in different places. All right. So we're going to start with this one. Put our last piece off to the side. We're on different plain 2. We are going to cut at, let's see if there's anything questionable on the other side. Let's make sure we're turned it the right way. We're going to make card panels on one side, 1, 2, 3, just like we did over here with this side, okay, and have a scrap left. And I did it only because this funny way because I was trying to get some of the design in there, all right. But that's what we're doing on one side, and on the other side, we're working with pieces for our double layout. So we're going to have to cut at 6.5 across. I'm going to cut at 6.5 across. So let's take the time and cut it straight. Line it up good on your paper trimmer. Take the time to make sure you're actually at 6.5 and not at some weird measurement. 6.5. 6.5 is where we are at. Cut straight. Good. Now this piece over here should be 5.5 by 12, which it is. This is going to be with card panels. You're going to cut 1, 2, 3 card panels out of it. Or if you don't have the die, likewise, you could do 1, 2, 3 with your card panel jig. You've seen me do that on camera. I'm not going to repeat that on camera. So take the time. That's what you'll do over here with that. Here, you'll turn this piece and cut at 4.5. Make sure you're actually at 4.5. 4.5. 4.5. Do it again. Make sure you're actually at 4.5. Hold on with these pieces, okay? Just put these two, these are photo mats for the double layout. I'll just reveal that. That's no big surprise. So put those off to the side for a second and take this piece right here. Let's get our double layout. It goes like this, right? Can you see the whole thing? Yes. This goes on the lower right. Remember this piece? And this will go on top. Like so. Oops, it stuck to me, that's why. On the lower right. Literally just right like this. And this will go right here. That's how that looks. It looks really good. Really, really good like that, doesn't it? These are the photo mats. They go over here on this side. That's the gist of it. Cool, huh? You can check both sides of the paper. No, because they're photo mats. Remember, they're photo mats. So what did I do with my... I just had... Oh, here they are. Here they are. See the difference? If you go like this, I mean, sure, that looks fine too, but it really looks great, that contrast. So we're going to do it like this. You're going to be able to tell, especially if you're using double-sided paper. There's going to be one side that you're like, oh, that's definitely the side. Okay, these are photo mats. Now, we can do an optional bonus paper saver out of these photo mats. Let's just wait a second on that, okay? And we'll just leave it like that. So we're laying, actually, we know this is going to go here, so let's put this here for sure. And we'll wait on those over there. This is going to go right here without question. Just like so. And then this will go down here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 2, 3. And put this right up against the edge. Right up against the edge, folks. Wonderful. We'll wait on those photo mats because if we want to cut a paper saver, I don't want to have them like glued down. All right, let's move this. Our last one was off the chain. Okay. Let me flip to off the chain too. All right. Oop. Off the chain too. Same thing. This same exact thing we just did, we're going to do on this sheet as well. Let me check. Oh, I am smart. Good for me. Okay. 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 Great. That was pretty good. All right. 6.5. There's my 6. Let's go 6.5. Make sure it's straight. This right here is going to be card panels. 1. Oh, look, I'm going to have one with the bird. 1, 2, 3. Or if I don't have that, I can use my jig. So I'm going to put that over there so I can do all those at once. I've got two pieces I can do at once. This I'm going to turn and do 6.5. There's, no, not true. 4.5, 4.5, 4.5, 4.5. It's already 6.5. 4.5. A 4.5. All right. These two pieces are now photo mats, which is funny because it's the same paper. Okay, but you'll see why I did it this way. Specifically, not that it would matter. Now this piece, those are photo mats. Let's bring back our double layout. Watch, 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 watch. Can you see both pieces? There. All right, watch this. These went like this, right? These go over here. This is why I chose it this way, because of this dark side. It can have that print on it. Yeah. And these were printed, so it needs to have a solid. So smart. The only way I would know that is from that cheat sheet, is to know that this printed paper would end up over here. Look at the butterfly. This I'll turn and we're going to put down here. Like this. It looks really good. Now I could flip it and have two yellow, but then it would mess up this. There'd be so much yellow over here. So I'm going to leave it just like that. That looks great. And this goes right there. Like that. Turn it like that. I am going to ink right here. And I'll ink this. I'll ink that one. Yeah, watch. Watch, 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 watch. Wonderful. Great. You'll see what a difference that makes. Glue it while I have it. We can choose here. Oh, I don't want that butterfly upside down. Oh. We'll go like that. Okay, just like that. Cool. Now, again, behind all four of these photo mats, we've got a bonus paper saver option. Boy, that looks great. That looks really great. Let's line this up, shall we? Wonderful. We'll ink these. Not the yellow. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, we'll ink these and not the yellow. I'll do that a little bit later. That's basically it right there. Now, here's how we're going to know. No, we're not going to know. We're going to need to cut the, here's what needs to happen. Here's what needs to happen. We need to cut out all these card panels from here. I wanted to come back just briefly here. I've spent some time die cutting out all of my sentiments here out of the side, and I wanted to share a tip with you before I got too far into the project. I covered the back of my pattern paper with a big piece of double-sided tape. I got it from Score Tape, and it comes in this big fat roll. And I mean, it's a little bit expensive, but I mean, I've had this for years, and I just use it when I'm doing things like this. So it makes my life easy later on, because especially with this kind of thing where now when I peel them off, I was hoping it would die cut all the way through, but it didn't, which is fine. So I pulled them off. I used my little pokey tool thing and pulled them off and stuck them just on some just deli container pieces that I always save, okay? And now when I'm ready to use them, I can use a little bit of undo. Where is it at? Here. I can use a little bit of undo to, it should come right off of the deli container, but if it doesn't, I can just use a little bit of undo to take it off and stick it on whatever I want. Also, I wanted to show you that I had enough to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 sentiments. So I'm ending up with a few extra. That's good with something like this. First of all, in case one of them rips. Second of all, just to have some extras then if they all come out fine. And with some extra space, I used my square punch to get some brown squares out, and now it's got a sticky back, and I can put those in with my extra pieces, and then if I need more little corners or just accent pieces, then they're ready to go. I just wanted to take a second here and while I'm mid-process and show you that. I'm not going to do it, I don't think, with this piece, because since this is the piece that I'm going to cut shapes out of, I would like the choice to use either side of this. So I'm not going to back that with anything sticky, otherwise it takes my choice away. But I just wanted to make you aware of this little handy tip. So I took the time to lay all of the card panels out onto the card bases and to put 3 of the shapes, whether they were this hexagon shape or whether they were the square punch shape. It really doesn't make a difference, but I took the time to lay them out on all of the cards. Incidentally, I ended up flipping over a lot of these card bases, even the ones where I love like this blue color so much. I want to show you, like that's a beautiful card right there, really. But because I die cut these in brown, I feel like either I'm going to have to find like, I have like scrap strips just from things, a scrap strip of white or something like that to offset this. And I thought, well, really, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to be making enough of these little cards along the way that this round can just be this way. So I've just played around with it and just took my time, put on some music, and just sort of enjoyed the process. Also, I want to show you how good of an idea this is. It's not my idea for sure, but to keep like your sticky sentiments, your die cut sentiments on like a piece of just deli container or acetate or something, because now I can sort of try them out against different backgrounds and see, do I like the look of it or not before I apply it. And that helped me make a lot of decisions along the way. None of this stuff is stuck down, by the way. These card panels, card bases, and 3 shapes on each card. I want to talk to the scrapbookers who are watching, who say, who are not card makers and who are not mixed media artists, and who are just appalled that I would cover up the pattern paper. It's a mindset shift, okay? It really is. In some projects like scrapbooking, when you're trying to make like something the focus, and so you're trying to, everything is so intentional when you scrapbook, you know, traditional scrapbooking, that to cover something up is almost like sacrilege. Well, in this project, just sort of open your mind a little bit And don't think of it as covering things up. Instead, think of it as you've got a background, which is the card base. Then you've got another layer. Then you've got another layer, which are the pieces. So just think of it as paper piecing, not covering up, okay? And you can even offset these layers with a little bit of ink around the edges. Look what that does. It just makes that top layer pop instead of allowing it to blend into the layer behind it. And you can just sort of, look at that, just that little bit. You can just enjoy the process along the way. And remember, if you're a beginning card maker, this is a great way for you to get more comfortable with card making. And if you're not a card maker at all, this is a great way for you to have cards on hand. All right. For these shapes, you'll notice that most of these are the pattern paper pieces, and some of these were from when we punched out shapes from the light cardstock. And I really like this a lot, especially because some of our card panels ended up to be quite busy just in the pattern itself. And what I did was I ran these plain cardstock sheets, or these pieces, through an embossing folder and gave it a little bit of interest. And there we can see it pop a bit. Okay, and I'm not going to do every single one on camera. I just want to show you what I'm doing. And you can see that there's how that will look with sympathy. See that right there? I can maybe show you one that's maybe stuck a little straighter. See how that looks? But there is one thing that we're going to add to each one of these cards, and it's a ribbon. Well, it could be a ribbon. I chose gold because I think that's going to look just great. But if you don't have ribbon, remember I just finished saying earlier that you can use these strips of pattern paper. So either way, if you have to use all your scraps to feel satisfied, remember we still have all of these scraps that would look beautiful, especially because some of them end up to be really thin if you're using a die cut piece. So use what you have, use what you think feels good. I've got two. I've got this sort of elasticy gold ribbon. It's almost like a twine. And then I've got this here. So I think for this, I'm going to demonstrate here. I'll do it twice. How about that? And I'm just going to pull enough to, obviously, to work with. And just around the card panel itself. Okay. Like so. I really don't have a special method or any tricks of the trade. I'm just tying it. Okay. And you can slide it over to where you think it looks best and slide it down to where you think it looks best. And do you know what else I've done? Is that if you don't like maybe you want it to go the other way, because that can happen sometimes where you tie it and then you actually want the ties to go a certain way. I take it off and I adjust it myself, and then I just put it right back on like so. Okay. And once it's stuck down, it will look like that. And we'll put our pieces over top like so. Is that the look we want? Or we could put them up top. Any last minute adjustments? No, I think it's fine. Okay. Good. Okay. Uh-oh, right like that. There we go. Okay, now for this part, maybe this is the part you've been waiting for. Okay, let's go like this. All right, so if this is the sentiment I want it stuck on here, okay? I've got some undo. And if you don't have this and if you're not doing it, I mean, just tear it off just gently. It will come off, but the undo sure does make it much easier. Let me see what I can put down here. Just so you can see it. Just right over top. That's right. Yep, just right over top. Okay. It's a liquid. Yep. I'm not just merely trying to get it off of there. I'm trying to have it remain sticky. Uh-oh, I forgot that little piece of a letter. There we go. Pull this down. And we want sympathy. Let's do the end. Let's work our way over, okay? With sympathy. And here's this little dot of an eye. There we go. That looks really nice. I like it a lot. I can add, oh, I like the layer of the flowers. I like the little simple ribbon. So that's just a demonstration of how to tie. I mean, like I said, I'm not doing anything special, just tying it. Maybe your ribbon is different. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different when I use this. You know, maybe I can double this up around the panel and just tie. This might be good to tie maybe a bow or something. But I'm going to finish up my cards and finish up my set. You see how long that took? I mean, it wasn't just a minute, you know, to do. I had to take some time. But everything's done. This is something I can do in between, you know, if I'm doing laundry or something, I can come over and maybe do a sentiment or something like that. Yeah, that looks really nice. I like it a lot. And two, you know what? If you have glossy accents or some sort of other dimension, you know, yeah, something like a glossy accents or something, you know, you could go over the sentiment if you wanted. You can add more bling. You can add corners to it. You know, whatever you have on hand. So Looks really good. I like it a lot. Okay, I'm almost all the way done with everything. And I'm not going to wait until I'm done with everything to show you how they turned out, because that way you can just sort of get a good feel. I'm going to add pictures like this all the way across. And I thought that these would be great pages for my wedding album. And that's something that I work on just sort of a little bit at a time. But this is the die cut title. All through the video I've been saying, oh, we can use this long strip for a die cut title. Now I have a Brother scan and cut machine, which allows me to die cut some titles. So I thought, well, this would be perfect. I know a lot of you probably have machines, especially if you have a bunch of supplies. This will be a nice way. This is a perfect size strip for a die cut title. And then I cut another one, but look, it kind of came out of the top. I just didn't have the paper right. So what I did was went back to one of my paper savers, and I did a sample here of the word adore. I cut another piece. I had another paper saver like this, and I cut the you and me out and put it there so it looks like a shadow. And then I could still use this piece of blue that I had. But I think that looks pretty good, actually, just the way that it is, you know. And like I said, you know, once you can get the idea once you see, you know, that once you add the photos, it looks just fantastic. So that's the double page layout, and I just have just a few things that had coordinated there with the collection. And this one I think is almost all the way done for sure. I'll move that one out of the way. This one looks really good. Again, I just put a picture there, trimmed it just a bit. It's not a 4x4. I left it longer so that I could put this over top. And then I added another picture down here of we didn't have a wedding cake. We had cupcakes, and we had them out over like a huge table, and it looked really cool. So I thought that looked kind of cool. And that's it. There's not a whole lot, you know, there's not a whole lot of need for journaling. Maybe I'll add I have sort of some blingy corners that I might add, just like one here, maybe one here, but I really like the bird. And what I really like is that the bird and this paper, this hint of this butterfly, I really like how it kind of goes with, like we were standing in front of a window and you can sort of see the tree out of the back of the window. I think that just little touch there looks kind of cool. Okay, and then here's how this one came out. These are some of my favorite pictures. I just love these pictures, and I love that I turned, remember this was just a 6x6 square, and I turned it over and used the back, cut that little bird out, and you saw me do all that on camera, and I added those corners. Remember, you saw me do all that? This is where I liked the word adore, which, like I said, I was originally going to use on the other page. But I thought, I really wanted it in brown. And I knew I was going to put it this way. It just looks great. I just love it. It just looks really great. Couple little quote strips. And yeah, that one's done. So we did all the hard work kind of along the way with those layouts. And it really wasn't that hard. It was just because we were doing them all at once. And all the cards, you know, I could have done anything I wanted with these cards, and I decided to make them all sympathy cards. It's just something when you're in the middle of your life and then all of a sudden, you know, don't you end up just needing a bunch of sympathy cards all at once? You know, sometimes that kind of stuff just happens all at once, it seems, doesn't it? So I just made a round of sympathy cards. They look great individually. Let's see, what was the one we were working on? I think this was the one we were working on earlier in the video. Yeah, it came out real nice. Real nice inked edges and beautiful paper. I'll put a nice stamped sentiment inside, and I'll do that with all of them. And then I put them in like like one of those printed boxes, and I just keep all my finished cards. And then if I need a birthday card, thank you card, sympathy card, I have them on hand. As a scrapbooker, that makes me feel pretty good that I don't have to run to the store and pay $5 or $7 for a card when I have all the supplies to make them myself. Now, some of you might be wondering about the scraps, the quote-unquote scraps. Okay, so let me scoot this out of the way here. So there's our 4 layouts, 1 double page layout, 2 singles, 12 cards, and the scraps, so to speak, that I have. I have these. I have some strips. I didn't use this one yet, which I still might in my accents. I have all these paper savers, which could be card panels that I could actually use. If I had a couple more pre-made cards, I could just plunk these down and just make a few more cards, any kind I wanted. How do I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 5 more. Really? Yeah, because I cut the Adore out of here, the You and Me out of here. I could have used more of this. Those are pretty nice scraps. Yeah, nice usable scraps. Yep. Final touches, I think in the cutting guide, I think I call them final touches and accent pieces. And then a few of these shapes left. So certainly I could jazz up what I've got. You know what I mean? I really hope that you enjoy the pattern, and I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial as well. Check out some other craft outfitting patterns. Again, I'm remaking the first 2 into the 2.0 version, which I love so much more. It's so much easier to follow. The cutting guide is, as you saw, kind of pieces throughout the video. So worth your while. You can do the cutting guide in any order that you want because it tells you exactly where each piece goes. If you just want to stick with the free video, that's great too. Watch it over and over and over again. Definitely hit that subscribe button. And that's free to subscribe to the Sandpaper Road YouTube channel, and you can take advantage of all the free stuff that I put out there, and we can enjoy this hobby together. I'm so happy that you stuck with me for this time, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.